Ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another episode of the Chi-Town Sports Podcast. I'm, of course, joined with Ben. Today, looks a little bit different. No face cam stream, as you can see on my name. We still have a lot to talk about regardless, but we wanted to try something out. Ben's computer wasn't working, so we couldn't really see everything. But here we go. You can see a picture of Ben's face sideways, and you can see our logo that I made a few months ago. First topic. I want to talk about college football returning. Memphis, SMU, both winning. BYU and Navy tomorrow, a.k.a. Monday the 7th on Labor Day. Ben, I love college football. I'm happy it's back, but it doesn't feel the same to me.
It can't be the same. Obviously, there's a lot going on right now. There's conferences aren't playing. Pac-12 and Big Ten still trying to sort that out. I was watching a game yesterday, and it was just odd having a lack of just a crowd. So I guess we'll have to get used to it, but it doesn't feel like college football. I agree.
I agree 100%. I'm not in the same mood I usually am. I see all these teams running practices. Week 0, of course, with usually a decent matchup. Florida-Miami was week 0 last year. That was the marquee matchup. This year, I think USC, Alabama, and then Notre Dame Navy in Dublin, Ireland, of course. BYU took Notre Dame's spot as the ACC only let their teams play one out-of-conference game, and Notre Dame decided Navy wasn't going to be on the schedule this year, and USF, here's $500K, and here's a win for us. So that game will be played not this upcoming Saturday, but the next. Next thing I want to talk about, of course, the main headline is the NBA. Not any game in particular. We'll be talking about all four today. Of course, the most intriguing matchups, Raptors-Celtics, as of course it is tied 2-2. Both teams are battling every single game. But there are a few other matchups I like all of them. But I've really been focusing down on the Bucks-Heat. I was trying to reclaim some old video of me saying the Heat were going to make it to the NBA Finals from June. Early July. I didn't have that, but if you want to go back to our early July podcast, so 2 months ago, before the playoffs were even set, I had the Heat in the NBA Finals, and so that's all I want to say. And even last week, we talked about this series a week and a half ago, and I said, Bucks Heat, third round. And Ben's like, no, you can't do that. Bucks Heat are going to be matching up in the second round. So I'm like, oh, I still have the Heat. There we go. Look at me now, guys. 3-0, and Giannis is hurt.
Yeah, that was a great pick by Brad. I obviously didn't get that one right, but I am liking the Raptors' chances after an insane Game 3. Kyle Lowry inbounds pass over Taco Fall. OG Anunoby, 0.5 seconds left, drills the shot, walks back to his teammates who were just jumping over him. That was a pretty insane moment. I think that could have flipped the series, that play right there. Kind of like Kawhi's Game 7 shot against the 76ers.
Yeah, that was in Game 7.
Last year.
Yeah.
This was not Game 7, but this was still a pretty important shot. I think that the Raptors will actually win the series because of that shot.
I do as well. I like the Raptors here a lot. I'm not a huge Celtics guy. I think Kemba is a good player, but I don't think he's a top 10 or 15, even 20 player in the league. I think Jason Tatum is probably top 20. I think he'll be top 10 in a few years. But I'm really not sold on Jaylen Brown, and I'm not sold on Daniel Theis. He's had some hype this year. Not really big on him, and I'm not big on any of their big men, to be completely honest. I thought it was kind of funny that Taco Fall was defending that. Of course, it was a smart play to have your 7'6" dude trying to block the inbounds pass, but incredible pass by Cutler. If that pass is an inch to the right, left, down, or up, they're not winning that game. He had to put it in a perfect spot right where OG wants it for him to drill that shot. So credit to Kyle Lowry and credit to OG Anunoby. And I had the Raptors winning this series. Next, we're going to move on. Talk about the Houston-LA series. The other game on tonight's slate. 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Houston currently leads 1-0 in the series. They won 107-92 in Game 1. I want to talk about how the Lakers should not be worried, and I want to hear Ben's take on this series. So, Ben, we'll start with you, then I'll talk about why I still have the Lakers winning the finals.
I don't think anyone should overreact to this. I think that the Heat-Bucks series is playing out differently than this series will end up playing out. Only because I think the Rockets, I think that what they're doing, they're playing lockdown defense. But I think the Lakers are a better team. I know that Game 1 didn't go their way. I'm not concerned. LeBron and Anthony Davis should be able to figure out James Harden and the small ball. If that means playing JaVale McGee 0 minutes, if it means playing Dwight Howard 0 minutes, Anthony Davis is a good 5 to match up against the Rockets. I think that the Lakers should be able to come through with this one, probably in 6 or 7 games, but I think they do win this series.
The Rockets, I honestly like the Trailblazers more than I like the Rockets. I think skill-wise. But what the Rockets can do against big man teams, and I'm not saying the Lakers are a big man team, but the second and third best player on the Lakers are power forwards. Now, of course, Anthony Davis played center and Kuz played center a little bit as well, primarily power forward. But, I mean, JaVale McGee is probably a top 6-7 player on their team. He played phenomenal this year. This is the Rockets series. I mean, you think about it, they win the point guard shooting guard matchup by 1,000,000. And I don't see Danny Green or Rajon Rondo being a stud perimeter defender that can guard James Harden on the pick and pop. I don't see them being able to stick with Russell Wilson as he's going 40 miles an hour. The Rockets, they have the advantage here, honestly, but I'll say this, you can never count LeBron out, and I don't see the Lakers not winning the finals this year. With Kobe Bryant in late January, with COVID, there was an aura about them, and I just like them so much to win it. I can't shy away from a pick now. I'm staying true to it. Lakers are winning the finals, and they're going to win this series in most likely 5, 6, possibly 7 games.
And I just want, okay. I just want to say something. There was a stat I just saw. When PJ Tucker guarded Anthony Davis in Game 1, Anthony Davis on 26 possessions didn't score 1 time.
Wow.
That's a matchup that the Rockets
PJ's not a defensive guy. I mean, he does both very well. He's an NBA starter, but his thing isn't defense. He's a solid defensive player. Ben, is he a better defensive or offensive player in your opinion?
He's pretty much even on both sides of the floor. He brings his strengths on both sides.
Yeah, he's an energy guy. Next series I would like to talk about is the Nuggets and the Clippers. Probably the most overlooked series, just on the fact the Nuggets went 7 against the Jazz. They looked gassed after Game 1. They were not playing up to par. I think mid-second quarter it looked like they were done. I was listening to Mark Jackson talk about the game, and he said this was not the Nuggets everyone wanted to see. He wasn't sure if they'd be able to get their energy back for the rest of the series, but they got their energy back for
quickly.
Game 2. And they were up at least 5 for a majority of the game. I mean, it was a very solid performance from this Denver Nuggets team. They even the series at 1 apiece. Ben, I want to get your insight on this series.
So I think that the Clippers have a real shot to win this NBA title. I think the Lakers will do it, but I think Clippers are a great team this year. I think the Nuggets have a chance in the series. The way that Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic are playing is perfect right now. This Nuggets team, we knew going into the playoffs that their 2 stars, their duo, pick and roll duo, just absolute one of the best duos in the league in my opinion. They had to play well, and Jamal Murray is leading the NBA in points this playoffs. And Nikola Jokic is still doing his thing with great passing and still putting up a lot of numbers. They can take down the Clippers with some good games. I'm not saying it'll happen. I think this series could be very competitive.
Ben, I agree with that as well. I just switched around our things there. I'm playing around with the StreamYard a little bit. We are powered by StreamYard, as you can see in the top right. Next, I want to talk about, I've been saying that a lot. I should switch up my grammar a little bit. I want to go to Desmond Coward having Cincinnati ranked number 3. I think he later switched it to 4 because he got a lot of comments about it. But number 3 in the morning as his college football playoff for his college football playoff ranking. Ben, I know you're a Desmond Coward fan. I'm surely not. I think he should not be employed. I think it's completely stupid. Like he's even on the ESPN College Game Day. All he does is Michigan, 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 and that's not what the world wants to see. Michigan is a below 500 team from a corrupt university. Ben, why did Desmond Howard say that?
Well, first off, I'm going to just say that most of your statements are incorrect, but I think he was looking at Cincinnati, he was looking at their schedule. They're probably going to go undefeated this season.
They will. They will.
And I don't think any other team other than maybe Clemson and maybe Ohio State has a chance of doing that. And there's
Ohio
a lot
State
of
isn't playing football, Ben.
you're right. Yes, you're right. Well, other than Clemson has a chance to do that, and a lot of these teams are playing gauntlets of a schedule where they could lose 2-3 games and still maybe end up competitive in their conference races. This is going to be there's going to be a lot of losses this year for almost every team. An undefeated season. They could move up at least the AP poll rankings, which really are a little more fair in my opinion than CFP, which is very biased toward the big schools. And in the AP polls, I mean, we saw UCF was in the top 6 there, but they were ranked 13th by the CFP when they were undefeated. Mm-hmm. So I think that maybe Cincinnati could claim a top 5 spot in the AP poll. I think maybe that's what Desmond Howard was going for. I can't really explain
he was trying to make some headlines. His Michigan was out. He knows he's not getting that revenue he usually is.
College football won't get the revenue, but
I'll say that. College football won't get the revenue. I'm not lying. Michigan's one of the biggest teams in the country. But you want to know who's bigger and better right now? Ohio State. I do think Cincinnati is going to go undefeated. I think Luke Fickell is a heck of a coach. I don't really know their lineup, but I do know Memphis probably their toughest game this year. Kenneth Gainwell, their stud running back, will probably be a top 2 round pick. Opted out a few days ago, and with that alone, they have a decent quarterback, Brady White. Didn't see him play last night, but I saw him play against Penn State last year in the Cotton Bowl. Kind of surprised that name is still around. I haven't really thought about the Cotton Bowl, but I mean. That's also another topic we can dive into. Not sure if we want to right now since we're talking more happier things. But I think Cincinnati's going to be a top 6 team by the end of the year. I don't think they'll make the playoff, and I don't think the playoff wants them to make it. I mean, you saw UCF win against a solid Auburn team, and everyone wanted UCF. Yeah, disrespected them. So if I were to have my playoff right now, it would be – I haven't really thought about it. I haven't put more than maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes of thought into it disregarding the Pac-12 and Big Ten teams. I'm going to have Clemson at 1, and then after that, it's honestly whoever. I'm not going to say rankings. I mean prediction schedule. I actually think Clemson will lose to Notre Dame in South Bend, but then win in the ACC championship game against Notre Dame. By more than they lost in South Bend, but Alabama is definitely going to be somewhere there. I love Alabama this year. A lot of people don't, but I do. I'm a big Mac Jones guy. I also am going to have Notre Dame there just because I really do think this is Notre Dame's year to beat one of those top 3 teams, top 4 teams in the country, and I think they will do it at home against Clemson. Moving on the line, I also have Oklahoma State. I had a lot of hype for them early in the year. I think Texas is receiving way too much hype per usual. I do not like Sam Ehlinger very much. But I do like Chuba Hubbard, and I do like Spencer Sanders and their stud wide receiver.
You know what I don't like about Oklahoma State, though?
Mike Gundy's OAN shirt.
Yes, that entire controversy, that cannot help them.
It's not going to help them, no. And I remember saying on this podcast that that's going to hurt them. But I think they're better than any Big 12 team. And I think the SEC is going to beat each other up in a gauntlet of a schedule, like you just said. So I just don't see Georgia, Florida, Auburn, LSU having more than 2 or 3 losses. So I think Florida is probably going to end up being 5. I'm not on the Georgia hype train whatsoever. I understand they're one of the best defenses in recent history. But
Jamie Newman opted out.
JT Daniels, I'm pretty sure isn't even cleared yet. So they're gonna
No,
have
he was cleared. He was cleared.
He was.
Yeah.
He was cleared, but medically, isn't there something holding him up? Hasn't he not been participating in workouts and whatnot?
I think I just read somewhere that yes, discusses JT. I don't know actually.
I'm seeing pictures of him here at practice.
No, yeah, he's there. He's there.
He is there.
He's in a.
But he's been playing. He's been playing second team snaps. No one thought Jamie Newman would leave, so he's been playing second team. Hasn't been fully acquitted yet. He transferred, of course, later than Jamie Newman.
They haven't actually announced him as their starter yet. Dewan Mathis is still receiving reps in the first team, so I assume he'll be started. But
I also have a dude named Stetson Barrett, who I feel like has been there forever. I don't even know how I know about him, but all I know is in 2017 he played on the Georgia team. 2018 went down to JUCO to get some more playing time, hoping 2019 would be his year. No, it wasn't. Jake Fromm didn't leave school and stayed. That hurt him big time. Would have been a first or second rounder. Now turned out being a fifth rounder to the Bills.
I have a somewhat irrelevant question about Jake Fromm. If Georgia had kept Justin Fields, do you think they should have? I feel like Justin Fields would have led Georgia to at least another playoff berth.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I think Justin Fields is nuts, and I think him being at Georgia, I think he would have done better. Not better because he's playing SEC teams, instead of that crappy Michigan team and teams like that. But I mean, his only competition is Penn State. Let's be real here. But yeah, I think he would have let them do a playoff berth, if not one or two. Hey, they barely beat Clemson. I mean, barely lost to Clemson.
That's a great unknown.
It is a great unknown.
We never saw that.
Ben, let's hear your. So actually, let me go. I'm not going to do numbers, but in the playoff, I have Clemson, Bama, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, and then right outside, I have Florida and Cincy. Ben, who do you have?
I'm gonna go with. Obviously, you got Clemson and Alabama 1 and 2. I think Alabama. I think people are not underlooking them this year. They had a rough year last year, but I think bouncing back is in Nick Saban's blood. Exactly. They should be the two team for sure. I don't think Notre Dame. I don't think 2 ACC teams can get in. I don't think that's a likely thing this year. Even without the Big Ten and Pac-12. I think that probably another SEC team will get in. Whether it's Florida, Georgia, LSU, but I think out of those teams, Florida's the best bet to get in with the established quarterback in Kyle Trask. So I have Florida getting in. And number 4, I went with Oklahoma, and I'm going to stick with Oklahoma.
All right. I like Oklahoma State a lot more, but some great predictions from Ben. Ben, who are your 5 and 6? I have Georgia also at 7. I just want to point that out.
I think my number 5 team right now is going to be Notre Dame. I do think they'll only lose once, but it'll be to Clemson. Actually, they'll probably lose twice to Clemson.
Yeah.
But I think they'll be 5.
Right.
Number 6, Georgia. And that's going to round it out for me.
Yeah. Number 8, I'll probably have Oklahoma. I don't think Oklahoma's a bad team whatsoever. They've Spencer Rattler, but their number 1 wide receiver went down from injury, a former 5-star Jaden Hasselwood. And a bunch of their defense was drafted last year. But I think Lincoln Riley is a heck of a coach, and I think he'll have.
He should be an NFL coach soon, in my opinion.
Yeah, he will. In the next few years, I bet he will. Next, I want to talk about, will the Big Ten and the Pac-12 play? A bunch of rumors going around in the past 10 days that Kevin Warren, the best commissioner of all time, is going to have the Big Ten playing, but they might not be playing until January, and they might be playing indoors, where, as he thinks, the COVID spread isn't as bad. So, I mean, then just on that topic alone, I doubt the Big Ten will play. Pac-12, of course, they're kind of run by Stanford and Southern California, but California isn't also too willing to let them play. I don't know. What turned into a maybe has, the more I looked at it, turned into a most likely no. Ben, what are your thoughts?
The Big Ten has kind of bungled this, I will say. Even if I do want to note that there are significant risks involved with playing, something called myocarditis, I think, which
Mhm.
enlarges your heart, and it's common in COVID patients. Um, and I think that shouldn't be overlooked, but I think the Big Ten should have waited a little bit. At this point, I don't think either conference will play. Obviously, you mentioned California, which is very cautious with COVID.
Very
And
liberal.
that's how the Pac-12 is governed. They have UCLA, USC, Stanford, Cal Berkeley. They have a lot of schools in that state. I don't think they'll play. I think the spring is where we're looking at for both of those teams, but I don't know how they can actually compete other than in conference in the spring, and they can't really declare a national champion because the fall will have that. So
Yeah.
it's going to be an odd year.
They could they they could end up doing a maybe Pac-12 champion versus Big Ten champion in
Yeah.
their own league, but we all know Ohio State's gonna win that and win that big. So I don't really know if that's worth it. And Justin Fields, there's no chance he's playing in the spring. I bet you the combine will happen. I bet you the pro days will happen. I bet you all this stuff will happen. It's just be like, you know what? Sure, we lost a bunch of money, but for the Big Ten at least, just fire Kevin Warren and act like it was all his fault. I think that's what's going to end up happening. In all honesty. But yeah,
And also, just Utah announced they're furloughing their entire athletic department. I just want to throw that out there because
but
that's
they're keeping their teams though.
Yeah, that's a large decision to make. But
I was kind of shocked. I did see that. That was an overlooked topic as well. But
there's
yeah,
a
I
lot
did see
going
that.
on.
There is
We
a
haven't
lot
even
going
touched.
on.
We haven't even touched on the Cubs, who are
Yeah, we should.
starting to.
I didn't have that on my agenda. I usually have a little agenda, but I'm pulling up ESPN here just to see if any breaking news has happened.
It's not pretty. The Cubs are not pretty right now, and
No.
without
But
you, Darvish.
really quickly, I was not going to talk about NFL in this episode. We were going to leave that for maybe Tuesday or Wednesday when the NFL hype is growing. I'll surely be going bananas on Thursday night watching that Texans-Chiefs game. I have a few fantasy players in that. But, of course, Jadeveon Clowney signing with the Titans, reunited with Mike Vrabel from Houston. What's it called? Devlin Hodges, the Steelers starter for the last few weeks of the season, was waived. Kevin Tolliver, the Bears' projected third or fourth string cornerback, was waived after a very, very bad training camp. I heard he was not doing himself any favors. AP signing back in the NFC North with the Detroit Lions, most likely not going to get many reps. I bet it'll be a third string there. Shouldn't even bother moving his family out. It's Detroit. But the Bucks signing QB Josh Rosen to the practice squad. Hey, I wasn't even sure if he'd get signed, but good for him. I don't see him doing much there. And yeah,
His career's coming to a halt, I'd say.
I agree. I think he was not worth it. And I want to say something that's just completely unrelated to anything we were watching or talking about today on this pretty good episode, longest one we've had in a while. But I'm on the complete LaMelo Ball, just shouldn't even pick him train. I don't even know what to say for
Jump
that.
off the bandwagon.
Jump off the bandwagon. Thank you, Ben. Oh my gosh. Dude shot, I did not look at his NBL stats, but I understand he didn't play that much. His three-pointer was like 20%, 25%. And I was looking into what scouts were saying, I was looking into what people thought his strengths were, and I was comparing them to his stats. And everyone's like, he's an offensive prowess, he can shoot it from deep, he's a facilitator. I don't know if I'd say that. Had a decent bit of turnovers, 3-point and field goal percentage.
Yeah, 3 points bad.
So
25%.
I'm completely against LaMelo Ball now. Just makes it like Isaac Okoro / trading the pick. I'm probably 75% trade the pick, either down or for a veteran. But yeah.
I still don't think the Bulls will have an option to pick LaMelo Ball. We'll do an episode on that in the future, I assume.
We will. We still have till October 15th, I'm pretty sure, is the draft. Am I right?
Yeah, we got it. Yes, you're right. We have a while.
October 15th is the day after I return from Kentucky. I will probably, since the draft is the next day, I bet we'll end up doing a show in Kentucky, Ben. I will be
Yes.
in Kentucky. Of course, you
I-
were in Northern Kentucky for a good little while. We did an episode there. I love to say that you were in Northern Kentucky, but for some reasons, I'm not going to say on the show. But guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to follow our Instagram, Chattown Sports Podcast. Ben isn't active on it, but I am.
I might start promoting on Twitter. Just be on the lookout.
Yes,
It's possible.
Ben, maybe you can run the Twitter page. I have my own personal Twitter, and it's mostly sports. Some other stuff, but it's basically just sports. I just retweet and like a bunch of tweets and stuff. But yeah, if Ben gets a Twitter, I'll let him run the Chi-Town Sports Twitter page. He'll be active on there since that's its only social media.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. A great episode, Ben, and we'll be back 2 to 3 times a week. We're not
episode.
slacking. We're
Yep.
back on the grind. All right,
We'll
peace.
see you guys soon.